What do you believe about money? How do you believe that money should come? I've just referred to the colonial imperialism and how all of those cultural beliefs and traditions that came out of the Western tradition influenced our thinking about money. One of the popular one is that majority of us believe that money can only come to us through work, and therefore most of our universities are training people to become employees. But we need to change what we believe about money. Some of us who are believers, we are stuck in thinking that God hates money, and therefore when we have it, we pass it so quickly, and we don't manage it so well because we think it's not a commodity that God values and we should value. No, God values money, and He wants us to value money, and His plan is that money should be able to make our lives better. Hello and welcome to Expansion Revolution Nuggets. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. I'm holding in my hands one of my books on personal prudence. I think I published this book, I think it was 2014 or so. It was one of the books that really was very inspirational and very technical in helping people, especially in the area of personal planning and so forth, and so personal financial planning. So very soon I'll make it available online, but for those of you who are around, you can be able to grab a copy for yourself. So I just wanted to show you that copy. Now, remember what we are talking about. We're in Expansion Revolution Nuggets, and this is our belief that God wants us to be able to expand in various ways of our lives. And one of the areas in which we need to expand in order for us to increase our worth and our value is in understanding the principles of budgeting. Now, that's what I'm talking about in this series, principles of budgeting. Now, before I go into the actual principles of budgeting, I'm really dealing with a lot of behavioral issues that I think that are very key into how we manage money. What I want to do today is to introduce you to one of the principles of self-philosophy, because how we manage our money is a product of our self-philosophy. And I'll explain to you in a very short while what self-philosophy is. But what I want you to recognize is that our money management is a product of our philosophy of life. And what is philosophy? Philosophy is simply thinking about things. And all of us have different philosophies about things, including money. And here's the problem, is that sometimes certain approaches that we use to things may be wrong, and certain belief system that we have towards things may be false. And it's important for you to keep on examining components that make up your self-philosophy in order for you to check on whether your self-philosophy is right. Now, what I want us to do in the next few minutes is to help you check on whether your self-philosophy about money is right. Now, there are four main important components of self-philosophy, and I want to deal with them. And here they are. The first one is belief system. What is your belief system about money? You are saying, I think we are talking about money. Yes, we are talking about money. And you have a particular belief system about what money is, how it comes through, how it should be spent, and whether it should be kept or it should be passed through. All those belief system influences your self-philosophy. And that's the first question today. What do you believe about money? How do you believe that money should come? I've just referred to the colonial imperialism and how all of those cultural beliefs and traditions that came out of the Western tradition influenced our thinking about money. One of the popular one is that majority of us believe that money can only come to us through work, and therefore most of our universities are training people to become employees and to work rather than to find other alternatives of having income streams that can generate value for us. So beliefs are very important in your journey towards money management. And the problem is that beliefs can either be right or wrong. So if they are right, they will then affect your thought system. That's very important. So your belief system normally influences your thought system. And your thoughts can either be positive or negative. And the question today, because we are dealing with money, is what is your thinking about money? If you're thinking about money, it's very negative. The likelihood is that when money comes towards you and how you manage money is going to be negative and sometimes very dangerous, very defective to you. In other words, money would not make your life better. Can I talk about that for a second? Because sometimes access to money can make people's life become worse. There are people you know that once they had access to money, to a good high-paying job, they lost themselves, some died, some found themselves in behavior they have never entertained, and they lost themselves. It is because the belief system is wrong and influences wrong thoughts, and wrong thinking about money leads to actions. Now, you can see actions are also right or wrong, and normally wrong actions are products of thoughts that are negative and that are wrong. So if your belief system about money is wrong, it will normally lead to thoughts that are wrong, and thoughts that are wrong will lead to wrong actions. And wrong action, this is where we normally see people and say this person is misusing money and is not managing money well. It is because we are looking at the lower level, how they are displaying how they use what they earn. But majority of the time, before you blame them at an action level, you need to be able to check what type of belief system is influencing this action and what type of thoughts are influencing this action. Now, if you have wrong beliefs and you have wrong thoughts and you are acting wrongly in how you manage money, the likelihood is would never be able to change you. Now, most people see that people are mismanaging money at action level and at a behavior level. And before you pass to the behavior level, you have to pass through habits. Majority of the people, once they have wrong beliefs about money and then their thought system about money, it's also wrong, then they act wrongly in how they manage money. And here's the problem. Then they develop wrong habits of managing money. Once you earn, you take all that you have earned and then you misuse it. There are people who cannot keep money in their account. Actually, there are people whose behavior is a product of how much money they have. I mean, when you have $500 or $5,000 in your account, I mean, no one can hold you. No one can control you. Your behavior is a product of how much you have. If you have a lot, you can't even spend time at home. You can't even be advised until you become broke. Such people are not managing money well. So that's part of the problem. We see that people mismanage money at a behavioral level or at an action level, and then we condemn them. And normally it's because they've already developed habits that takes time to develop, and now we have a problem with advising them. So what am I saying? If you want to change how you manage money, you need to recognize this is a behavioral problem, and you need to adjust a lot of things to change that. Now, we divide the self philosophy into two important areas. We have here the upper self philosophy and the lower self philosophy. Now, if you want to change somebody at a behavioral level and at an action level, here's what this model recommends. You need to change their belief system and change their thought system. And that's what I want to recommend to you. If you want to change how you manage money, the first area is you need to become critical about your thinking about money and some of the belief system about money that you have. Here's the sad thing about beliefs, is that beliefs, whether true or false, influences our approach and our response and our conclusions about things, including money. Maybe right now you are stuck at home because you are unemployed and you are stuck in the belief that says you can never have money unless you go to the workplace. And there are some of the creative ideas that we can have that we can begin to use for you to generate income, but we are stuck in the employee mentality. Maybe you are stuck in financial usage as opposed to financial keeping. When money comes through your hand, you are quick to go to the shops and spend all of it. Maybe you are stuck in behaviors that do not promote financial prudence. Now, for you to change them, you need to change your thought system. Some of you impress your friends about who you are. Some of you, your status and your self-esteem is a product of how much money you have. And therefore, if you can change those belief systems and recognize you are a person of worth irrespective of how much you have, then you would not need to spend money to boost your ego and your self-esteem and your self-confidence, because you will recognize it should be a product of who you are rather than what you have. So money management is a behavioral problem, and I've never had any opportunity to stress this view like I have right now in this platform. that we need to change what we believe about money. Some of us who are believers, we are stuck in thinking that God hates money, and therefore when we have it, we pass it so quickly, and we don't manage it so well because we think it's not a commodity that God values and we should value. No, God values money, and He wants us to value money, and His plan is that money should be able to make our lives better. Thus, I want to close this session for today. Can you use your money to make your life better? Look at your life and find areas in your life where money failed to add value into your life. Then you would have used money in a way that is not important to you. So that's a very important principle that can help us, because I'm trying to deal with mindsets that normally hinder people to budget before I deal with actual principles of budgeting. Thank you for joining me today. If you have liked this video and you feel what we've shared has benefited you, please make sure that you share with your family, with your friends, and encourage them to subscribe to this channel, share, like, and click on the notification bell to ensure that whenever we upload the content like we do tomorrow, you would be able to have access to our content. Thank you for watching. I'm OJ Matiba from Hillview.